Hey guys, I am Krissy Marsh, and we're going to have some good fun today. Good fun unpacking the secret lives. I cannot believe how many of you are carrying around little dark secrets. How many of you put one facade out for the public and have got a whole lot of other shit going down here. And I'm not talking on like going down there. I'm actually talking you've got shit going on in your lives. People leading double lives, people leaving triple lives, people having affairs for years and years and years. I had a question come in that I had to share with you, and I don't normally do a podcast on just a question, but seriously, I had to on these. So bear with me whilst I put on my Nana glasses and read this to you. Dear Auntie Krissy, I'm writing you because I don't know who else to talk to. I've been having an affair with a man I work with for just over 2 years. He's married with kids. And when it all started, he told me the usual story that the marriage was over, that they were living like flatmates, that he was just waiting for the right time to leave. I believed him. He was charming, attentive, and made me feel seen. And every time I started to pull away or gave him the ultimatum, he'd promise again that he was just sorting things out and he'd leave soon. Yeah, that old chestnut. And soon he never but soon has never come. Instead, every time I try and walk away, he showers me with expensive gifts, bags, jewellery, and even paid part of the rent once when I said I couldn't do it anymore. I feel like I'm being emotionally blackmailed with luxury, and yet I stay. I'm not naive, Krissy. I have a good job, my own life, and I've never considered myself the kind of woman who would get caught up in something like this. But here I am, 2 years later, hiding at work, lying to friends, and waiting for a man who's never seems to actually follow through. I think I love him, but I also think I've been sold a fantasy that he's never had any real intention of making real. Do men like this actually leave their wives? Am I being strung along, or am I just too deep in this not to see anymore? Oh my God, darling, you're in all sorts of shit show. Firstly, you knew perfectly well what you were getting yourself into because, yes, he was a married man and he was still married. So I know it's all hindsight for you now, but anyone else listening and thinking of doing the same thing, just don't touch a married man. Wait till he's broken up, wait till he's left before you do anything. So that was your first mistake. But clearly you went along with it. You're now 2 years in and it is at your work. So not only are you jeopardizing your career, and you didn't say in there what you do, but regardless, whether he's, in a position higher than you or lower than you, you're still jeopardizing your career. So not only, I can't imagine how you go to work every day, the pit of your stomach. One, you're sleeping with someone else's husband. Two, it involves, oh, there's a mosquito or something. Two, it's actually in your workplace. So you can't even go to work and escape all this. It's there in your face. Clearly, he is not leaving. Haven't you heard this is the oldest trick in the book, that any bloody man that's shagging someone and fucking someone at work or fucking someone wherever they're fucking them isn't going to stop and isn't going to leave his wife. He's probably in a very, very happy marriage, but he's just, you're there, you're bending over a desk, you're flirting with him. Grass is always greener on the other side. So he thought, oh, okay, I'll go and do that. And the problem is, once someone's cheated once, and if you think, oh, well, so what? Best case scenario, he leaves his wife, which I'm telling you, after 2 years, you've given him all those ultimatums. This guy is not leaving his wife. He is not breaking up his beautiful family. He's not leaving his gorgeous children for you. Okay? And if you think it would have happened by now, it would have happened by now, not after 2 years. I really feel for you right now because you really are in a bad pickle. Not only is it affecting your work, it's affecting your home life. Well, you don't really even, you didn't say whether you go out to dinners or whether it's public or whether this is just a sexual affair or whether it's just a sex thing. The fact that he's paying for some of your rent, the fact that he's buying you, gifts, he's obviously drip feeding you and making you stay in there, making sure that you still think that he's going to leave his wife. And this is the problem with men like this, is that they never will, more than likely. I mean, it's been 2 years. So you're really emotionally attached now. You're really involved in it. And also you're saying you love him, and that's hard. That's hard if you've been doing this for 2 years. So you obviously have spent a long time in your life. being with this guy. And that 2 years hasn't, helped you go and meet someone else. It hasn't helped you, go and find someone else, or even being able to get out of this relationship because you're so emotionally attached to this guy leaving. And I'm sure this is making you go crazy at night because you couldn't even go to work and have a normal relationship. I mean, you didn't say, are you fucking this guy in the office? Are you fucking him at your place? You didn't sort of go into details, but I suppose that's not really relevant. I think what's relevant is the fact of how are you going to get out of this now? And I really don't think this guy's going to change. Obviously he's the one that's married. He's the one that's been in the relationship. He's the one that is, has got so much to lose, but also you've got so much to lose because, you deserve a good relationship. You deserve to have someone that's honest with you. You deserve to be in a loving, nurturing, kind relationship. So I think for your own good, you've got to just go and discuss it and end it. I don't think he's ever going to leave. You've clearly got the power of the pussy, the fact that he's doing this whole affair on you and all this sort of thing. And it's 2025, so use your pussy for good and go out there and meet someone and actually who is single and who is available and who can give you the life that you want. You know 100% that this guy is not going to leave. You know that you've given the ultimatum. He showers you with gifts. This is where you deserve more. You deserve more as a person, respect. I don't give a shit what happens to him. I don't give a shit. There's no winners in this situation. You need to be the winner now. You need to look after yourself. And look, it is going to be bloody uncomfortable when you rock up to work after you've given him the whole ultimatum, not seeing him. But are you strong enough? If you're telling me that you're in love with him after 2 years, are you strong enough to go into work and not to fall into the same trap again, not to open your legs and be down on the bed again, and before you know it, you're having sex with him again and the whole thing started? So if you don't think you're strong enough, you need to work out some sort of compromise, and one of you needs to leave this work environment, because if you're not strong enough to go on, you've got to really remove yourself, go on a holiday, go back to my breakups episode and really work on yourself for a while, because you deserve happiness. You don't deserve, I can't imagine how you'd be churning inside with all this, lies and deceit, and, it must be really, really hard for you. So you deserve better. Get straight. 2025, it's not going to change. We've heard this story a million times. It's no different from any other man that does this. Yes, I'm going to leave my wife. I'm going to leave my wife. I'm going to leave my wife. Come on. You know the truth. So you need to act now for yourself.
What about the wife?
Oh.
What about the wife?
Yeah. Look, at the end of the day, I don't even know whether the wife knows, whether the wife suspects. I think if you end up, what? So have you ever thought about the wife? What's she doing at home? She's, got a husband, a family with kids. And I know at the end of the day, it takes two to tango. He's the one that's been married. But you've put the temptation there also. You're the one that's allowing him to do that. Don't be the one to break up that marriage. You don't think you're going to be the last one. He's going to do this again and again and again. Once a cheater, always a cheater, I think. So but don't you be the one that causes a whole family so much grief. I mean, imagine how she feels if she's found out that this has been going on for 2 years. This is not just some little fling. I mean, this is a proper relationship. And unfortunately, it's a proper relationship built on a foundation of lies. Get out now, girl. There's no winners in this situation. I don't know what's making everyone tell me their hard truths. So I don't know whether they're drinking too many skitty bitches or what's going on, but you thought the last one was bad. Wait till you hear this one. I'm really struggling with something and I don't know who I can turn to. I recently moved here from Italy to build a life with my partner. We've had a child together, and from the outside it probably looks like we're settling into family life, but on the inside I feel completely stuck. My partner and I have lost something. There's no spark, no real communication, just this constant feeling of being weighed down. I feel invisible a lot of the time. And then something happened. I started sleeping with his brother. I know how that sounds, but I can't explain the pull. What sort of pull is she talking about? I can't explain the pull. It wasn't planned. It was something I never thought I'd do. But with him, I feel seen. He listens. He notices when I'm struggling. There's chemistry. There's energy. It makes me feel alive again. I'm not just risking a relationship by continuing this, I'm risking a family, our child, the bond between two brothers. It's not lost on how messy this is, but I also can't pretend I don't feel something real here. I don't know if this is a momentary escape or a sign that I'm already emotionally left my relationship. I feel torn in every possible direction. What should I do? Wow. Well, this is sad because obviously you're out here in a foreign country. I've lived over in Italy before and I know what it's like to be away from your family and your support network. Sleeping with the brother, now that's a really sticky situation. I think by reading this, you've basically, I don't know how old your child is, but a relationship does change a lot from being single and being giddy and being in love to when you have that first child. And also as a mother, all of a sudden, you're in love with this husband. I know when Johnny and I first got married and, we're going out, well, first of all, it's your boyfriend and then it becomes your husband and, madly, madly in love with him. And then all of a sudden this baby comes along that you just, spend 24 hours a day caring for and looking after. And, that love is just so intense. It's really, really hard to deny the love of a mother and a child. And then all of a sudden that's happened to you and now you're sleeping with the brother and you're not finding your husband attractive. I think it's all sort of been confused. Obviously, if they're brothers, they've probably got similar traits. They've probably got similar personalities. You probably have that same attraction, but now that you've got a child with your husband, maybe things have sort of faded and died a bit. But sleeping with the brother, it doesn't mean that you're not still in love with your husband. I think that this situation's really gotten you super confused and super clouded. I think the most important thing you need to do, you didn't say whether the brother was living with you guys or not, but I think you need to end that relationship immediately with the brother. Because yes, you're exactly right in what you said. Not only are you risking, your child's security within a family unit, you're also now risking, the two brothers' relationship for the rest of their lives. I certainly wouldn't be using the honesty tactic here and going and confessing this all to your husband because your life is about to be turned upside down if you do. My recommendation would be to just stop sleeping with the brother ASAP. Try and go back and see, for the sake of your child, see if you can rebuild and repair that relationship. And I think it's really interesting to think love is a state of mind. I can wake up on a day and decide to be in love with Johnny. Oh my God, I love him. He's amazing. He's such a hard worker. He provides for our family. He's a beautiful, kind person. Or I can wake up and look at Johnny and say, oh, he's giving me the shits. He's annoying me. He talks too loudly on the phone. He's, all of these things. Oh, he's chewing with his mouth open. All of these things, all of a sudden, you can pick and you can look for problems. And it sounds to me, since you started sleeping with the brother, you're trying to, fight your way out of it and use it as an excuse. And all of a sudden you're finding your husband not appealing. And this is an interesting thing, I think, when people have affairs is it's the excitement, it's the danger, it's all of that sort of fun, and that's why they always say the grass isn't always greener. So what happens? You basically ruin the relationship. Just say you decide to go off with the brother, your daughter or son, I can't remember what you said, whether it was a boy or a girl, your child, then, all of a sudden you're then with the uncle, but who says that's going to work out? And then all of a sudden, I really think for the sake of your child, just go back and try and make it work. And even if it doesn't work, I don't think the answer is then going off and being with the brother. I mean, seriously, out of the population of, however many million people we have, even in Australia, surely you can find someone other than his brother. And the whole reason you're probably attracted to the brother is the whole reason you're attracted to your husband. So you know what? Choose love, choose to wake up and fall back in love with your husband, and hopefully that will work for you. And if it doesn't, then fine. Don't go ruining his relationship with his brother and everything at the same time. I don't know how many times you've slept with the brother, but you know what? Sex can be good with anyone if it's exciting, if it's new, well, go back and try and recreate that with your husband. I don't know if I'm giving you the best advice on this one because I actually have never had an affair, but I can imagine the excitement of one. Am I allowed to say that? No. But I'm sure it would be sneaking around, I know I've spoken to a girlfriend before that's, being having an affair, shagging on the table, shagging here, at the toilet at work, anywhere they could, sneaking up to Bondi Junction, shagging in a hotel up there, anywhere basically they could get a bit. Because that's what you have to do. You've got to sneak a little bit anytime you can. And that's not a real relationship. I mean, that's sex, and surely you can go and find sex with someone else, not his brother. So, you know what? Zip up your pants, pull down your skirt, bloody put some tight undies on if the brother's around, and don't go letting him shag you. Go back to being in love with your husband. If that doesn't work, get single, move on. Okay, is that good advice? Stop fucking the brother, for God's sakes. I still can't believe it. I'm just like, oh my God. Lucky Johnny doesn't have a brother.
Devil's advocate. What if she's really meant to be with the brother? No, like what if the love with the husband was never there?
Well, she'd go and find someone else,
So
not the
she
brother.
can't be with the brother now, no matter what.
No, I don't think so. I don't think you can be with the brother regardless. You've already had a child with a man, and then you want to go then, it's just too murky for your child as well. I mean, really, if it is true love, but how will you ever know in such a murky situation?
Do you believe in soulmates, Krissy?
Soulmates, yeah, I do. I believe in soulmates. And look, she would have known the brother was her soulmate before she got with the husband anyway. So I'm not, for me, a soulmate, but you can also create your soulmate. I think, people say it's, love at first sight. I mean, maybe that's true. Some people do have that love at first sight. I've never had love at first sight. Anyone I've gone out with, it's always, for me, it's all about, the relationship. It's all about, the mind. It's all about the love connection within your mind. And that's the same with sex. It's the same with anything. For me, it's got to be that really, really deep connection. I mean, you could walk in here with, abs of steel and be the hottest man alive, and I'm not going to want to jump your bones because I don't have that physical and emotional attraction. So for me, sex has never been about sex and just being with someone for the sake of being with someone. And that's why I think I've, never had a one-night stand, and I've never done that because I can't understand how someone just goes and, fucks for the sake of fucking. And I know that's massive in the gay community because so many, it's so much about sex and so much about, doing that. And, plenty of women these days are like, oh my God, I feel so liberated. It's great that guys and girls can just go out and root themselves stupid. And, my daughter's at university. I mean, a mother said to me recently, my daughter's at university and it's great. She can have free love and free sex. And well, that's great. I'm not going to, say that's wrong. But for me, I wouldn't get enjoyment out of that. Like that Instagram woman that bloody slept with, 600 men in one. Oh my God. I mean, seriously, Bonnie Blue, 600, people in one day. And, she ends up in hospital. Like, imagine what that's doing to your body. Imagine what that's doing to your soul. So for me, a soulmate is, it's years of being with someone. It's years of, emotional experiences. It's almost like, this is going to sound really bad, but it's almost like moving into a house. When you first move into a house, you don't really feel like you should be there because you don't have any memories created there. And I think that's, for me, always what a relationship's like. I really need to have that connection with someone, and that soulmate is developed over times. It's going through, death together. It's going through births together of children. It's going through, hard times. It's going through good times, and that's what makes a soulmate. So going back to the girl shagging the brother, I think what's hard about that is, she's at a vulnerable time. She's moved countries. She's just had, well, I don't know if she's just had a baby, but she's obviously had enough of a commitment to have a child with the man. And that's a bigger commitment than any marriage. That's a lifelong commitment. And also that man will have to be in her life for the rest of her life because obviously, they share a child together. So I think you've got to think long and hard before, long and hard. That might be why the brother, he might be long and hard. Maybe that's why you're shagging him. No, but I do think you've got to think long and hard before throwing a marriage away or throwing a relationship away. It's not even, you're not even married. I think before throwing a relationship, because everyone thinks, oh, you're saying to me, oh, I feel seen. Well, have you discussed with your husband, look, I haven't felt seen. He might be so worried about you, moving to a new country, trying to provide for you, trying to get a job. Ask him how he feels. I think it's always good to see someone else's perspective. He might have already sensed you pulling away from him and pulling off his brother. So he might already be sensing that. So, you know what? I think, in life, people can make mistakes, and maybe that is a mistake that you've made, but don't throw away a perfectly good relationship because you think the next one's going to be easier and the next one's going to be better. I see so many times, friends that have gone and, older guys that have gone and remarried younger women, and you just see them then, stuck with children, and, our kids are older now and it's getting easier, and these guys are back in the trenches with these young little babies. At the time, I mean, these women were exciting. They, they're very powerful in the bedroom. They'd bloody suck a golf ball through a hose for 10 hours, and all of a sudden it's exactly the same as what the wife they've just left. They're now married, they're now not getting any sex, they're now left with two small kids. And this is the funny thing about so many relationships, and it's, people think, oh, it's going to be so much better and exciting. Those younger, women, or the people, it doesn't even need to be younger, but the person that they go off and have an affair with that they think's exciting, it still becomes like a mundane relationship. So I think the essence is trying to reignite that relationship, keeping it fresh, keeping it new, and making sure he feels seen as well. I'm sure if you're off shagging the brother half the time, what's he doing? Twiddling his thumbs at home with the kid. So if you're shagging your brother,
Your brother.
yeah. So if you're shagging someone you shouldn't be right now, the moral of the story is concentrate on your own relationship. I think all of this, think of the grief and the angst that an affair is causing you, and think of the lying and the cheating and the sneaking around. Think of what that does to every cell in your body for 20-minute gratification and great sex, that you're causing yourself hours and hours, your children, your family, your friends. So don't always think grass is greener on the other side. Send this podcast now, right this second, to someone that you know needs to hear this. And all of us know plenty of people out there that are sneaking around behind people's backs. I mean, come on, I live in the eastern suburbs. It's full of it. So you know what? Think twice. Think of your kids. Think of your family. Think of you. Think of the stress that it's putting on your body sneaking around and doing all this. Stay true to yourselves, guys. Make sure you keep the questions coming, because this shit is fun. I love talking about, it blows my mind, the situations you guys get yourself into. Little Miss Perfect over in the corner here. Never shagged a brother.